Good morning, everyone. So I can say Abid, I can see Abid, Akash, Suraj, Ganesh, Gaurav, Jibin, Jyoti, Kripa, Nikita, Nilesh, Sunny, okay, and Suhas and Yunus. How are you all doing? I know coming to a Sunday morning, Suraj, coming to a class on a Sunday morning is absolutely boring. Right, Jyoti? Absolutely boring. Nobody wants to come, but what to do? Very well. That's very nice, Yunus. Very nice. So, okay. So as I said, Sunday morning, none of us, like neither you would be willing so much, nor do I. But yes, it's for me. I really like to teach, but only thing is that you all have to be very, very participative. That is the only request I would have from all of you. So I would want, like, for next 2.5 hours, you all lend me your ears? Like, I really want you to keep your mobiles. And of course, if you're attending the lecture through mobiles, then keep it with you. But yeah, distractions like your LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Twitter, keep it away. Okay, make it to be as inclusive class as possible. I would really, really appreciate it. Right, Abid, Akash, Ganesh, Gaurav? Do we all agree to this, that we have to make the class to be as participative as much as possible? Yes, lovely, very nice. So we would be going through, so we have 4 sessions, and I'm pretty sure all of you are aware. Have you all started? Okay, be very, very honest with me. Have you all started going through your asynchronous material, async, the recorded version, the async material? Have you? Chat copyrights. Is Pranjay there?
Yes, ma'am,
Pranjay,
I'm there.
yeah. Pranjay, they're asking for chat copyrights.
Yeah, copyright. I'm listening this for the very first time.
Yeah,
Chat
even
transcript I have listened.
I think chat with everyone. Can we do that, Pranjay? Is that okay? I have done it.
Yeah, chat with
Yeah,
everyone. We can do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've done everyone. Acha. However, as host, you can adjust your Zoom setting. So, Abid, it just shows like attendees can chat with everyone. That has been done. So, yeah, you can, but copy, I don't know. Yeah, copy, I mean, as Pranjay, even if it is a news for me. But yes, but in general, we all have given you the rights to chat with everyone. Is that okay? Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll do it from the back end. If I'll see a setting,
Yeah.
I'll go to the
He
settings
said
and
it.
I'll do it from the back end. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, apart from that, so okay. So my question again, coming back to, have you all started attending your, not attending, going through your recordings? If not, I think it's a good time today. I'll give you the gist of what you can find in there. Okay, the gist of the entire, in the nutshell, what we would be going through in these 4 sessions. Okay, that would be our class. So the only thing, as I say, I'll reiterate it again and reiterate it again and again. Please be participative. Otherwise, you know what? It is an Astha channel. If you do not participate, you will feel like somebody has switched on Astha channel and there's a professor she comes, gives gyans, and that's it. Okay, and we don't want it a gyan session. Hana? None of us want it. Come on. Huh? Yeah? Kripa, Nilesh, Rahul, Rohit, what? Satish? Yeah? No gyan. Bilkul. Right? Let's make it participate. At any point of time, if you have any input, please, okay, feel free to have inputs, because trust me, no amount of MBA can give you the learning which you have peer learning. Because Jyoti would come from another industry, Satish would come from another industry, okay, then you will have Vijay from another, Gaurav from another. So that way the class becomes more inclusive and interesting. We get to understand, okay, this is what happens in IT, this is what happens in your, what do you say, manufacturing or education industry. So that's how it will become interesting and inclusive class. So yes, so let me just we're there on the slides, right? Let me just give you an overview of the entire 4 sessions, what we will be going through. So today is a first session. And in today's session, I'll let you know like what you can expect in the next 3 sessions. Also, you can, in the meanwhile, after you're done with this, you all can start watching your async, because I'm pretty sure you are aware that some of your IAs, like the first 3 IAs, are from async material, and next, fourth and fifth would be from your live lectures. Now, so so if you see, in the first one, you will have individual behavior, because when we talk about OB as whole, so we have different, like OB would have, or behavioral science would have 3 levels. One is individual level, then comes a group level, and then comes the overall organization level. So in the individual level, we would be understanding about personality. Okay, then we'll talk about big 5 personality model, which goes by the name Ocean. It's a very interesting one. We'll try to do it with a caselet. I'll show you some videos there. Then we'll talk about what do we mean by job attitude. And we'll talk about perception and the errors, or the judgment errors. Like, as soon as we see someone, we start judging people. That's been ingrained in us. So we'll talk about those errors, and we'll also talk about how we can minimize such thing by knowing ourselves better. Then we'll also talk about, in another, moving further, we'll talk about teams. What do we mean by teams? How you can, conflict is an integral part of an organization. You really, really cannot let conflict go away anytime. So yeah, we'll talk about conflict. How do we manage conflict? And of course, then we'll talk about different leadership styles. So that we'll do. In between, we'll do small caselets as well. Then we'll also, so this is about that behavioral perspective. Okay, then we'll talk about the human resource perspective, because yes, you have this entire session where you are talking about behavioral science as well as human resource management. So in human resource, of course, we have that interest of time is also there. So we would be touching upon the concepts of human resources. We'll talk about what do we mean by planning, what do we mean by recruitment, what is the difference between recruitment and selection, then what do we mean by induction, orientation, how do you, in today's time, especially after, nowadays, you must have heard about the great resignation, quiet quitting, moonlighting, everyone, huh? Have you heard about these words? And it's doing quite around, and there's been so many things. So yeah, we'll talk about that, how during, especially, Gaurav, Yunus, during this time after pandemic, we all have understood how important our lives are, and how important, like, all of us have been trading. So for example, you must have done, I think so, all of us have been there. For example, Gaurav's best friend's wedding is there, and you have a very important meeting. So sometimes we all have done our personal sacrifices. Akash would have said, oh, I would not go for the vacation. Kirti would say, okay, you know what, I can't go for that meeting, for the personal meeting, because yes, you have an official thing. We all have done these kind of personal sacrifices, right? But you know what, especially after COVID-19, yeah, Suhas. So after COVID-19, we all have understood that how important our lives have been, because some of us have struggled through it. Some of us have seen our family members struggling. So now, we don't want to conform to the needs of the organization. And especially if we talk about Gen Z, you see the younger ones, the ones who were born after 2000, they don't want to change themselves for the organization. They would want organizations to tweak themselves for these people. So yeah, that's how we'll talk about a little bit about employee engagement. Then yes, performance management, which is always a burning issue, and especially bell curve. Hala? So yeah, Jyoti would be like, I have done so well. So why it is just, exceed expectation? It would have been far exceed. So the boss always says, you know what, Jyoti, I gave you far exceed expectation, but it just went to normalization and you got exceed expectation. Why? It has happened with all of us. Okay. So yeah, so that's what we'll talk about, what is performance management as a whole, and what are the different ways of performance appraisal, the modern methods, the old methods, all these we would be discussing. So this is your overview of the session. So live session 1, I'm going to tell you about the entire, what is there in the entire course. So it's about sensitization about the entire course. In live session 2, we would be talking about so in async, you can study these things, or after the session, you can go through these things. We'll be talking about personality, attitude, perception, and perceptual errors, which we also call as judgmental errors. Okay, so like stereotyping, halo effect, all these are there. Then in live session 3, we would be talking about team. Okay. What are the team formation theory? We'll talk about conflict management, leadership. So for live session 3, you have to go through this async material. And in live session 4, which is your HR part, we will be talking about planning, recruitment, employee induction, orientation, performance management, and all, which is your HRM part. So this is what would be there, our journey in these 4 sessions together. And okay, one more thing, at any point of time, since the class number is very limited, at any point of time, if you have any questions, okay, feel free to ask. You don't have to think twice. Please raise your hand or write your name or write your question. However, you want to ask through chat, you can ask. You want to get our voice right, absolutely fine. Okay. The only thing I would request is to, of course, when you all have come for the class, let's make it worth the while, right? So in IA, so how your assessments will go about it. So IA 1 would be there, where you have to go through the async content for live session 2. Okay, that is about personality, right? That's what we discussed about perception and perceptual error. So IA 1, whatever I told you would be there in the async content for live session 2, go through that. For IA 2, you have to go for the async content for live session 3. What was it? It was about team, it was about conflict management, it was about leadership. So that bit you need to study through your async material for IA2. For IA3, it would be async content for live session 4, which is that HR part, planning, employing, workforce planning, performance management, all those things you need to go for the async material, the HR part. For IA4, whatever I teach today, as well as in the next session, okay, the live. So I'll be very honest, for IA4, I will be asking from the live session itself. Okay, so it would be the content of live session for session 1 and 2, and IA5, the content of live session 3 and 4. Okay, so this is how your IAs are going to be. Okay, and then now we'll talk about organization behavior. So I'll ask you a question first. So, dating back to very, very olden times, how used to be the transaction? If I wanted something and Gaurav wanted something else, how are we going to do the transaction? Abhi, if I may call you Abhishek, Abhi, is that okay? Basappa, you tell me, how would a transaction happen in very, very eons back? Kaise hota tha? How it used to happen? Huh? Ambarish, Suraj, tell me. Jyoti, how? Simple. Bart assistant Jibin, absolutely correct. That used to be as simple as that. Jibin had rice, he wants milk, Jyoti has milk, and how they exchange it. That simple exchange of goods used to be there, and which used to be called barter system. We all evolved, and human beings, as typical as we all are, what we like our likes and wants and all these things does not stop. So we all keep on evolving. Along with that, our systems also kept on evolving. So yes, especially after this world wars and all, more and more we had factories and all, so more and more people started coming together to achieve a particular goal of the organization. So all these people, okay, when we are, see, what happens is that when we talk about behavior is in response to somebody else. It is contextual. Do you all agree? Behavior is contextual. Akele sitting here, I would not have anything around me. It would be only intrapersonal within me. But it is how Jibin says anything to me, or Suraj says, or Abhishek says. It has to be in context to something, right? So yes, in organization, when so many people come together, of course, there's going to be different things. There is going to be group conflict. There's going to be leadership issues. There's going to be, what do you say, group dynamics. Yeah, but power and politics, all these are very important elements. So that behavior which happens in an organization when everybody comes together to work and all, that behavior is known as your organization behavior, right? That's how I behave in organization. It may happen that when you are asked something from, you have asked, your family says something to you, and Pripa can say, no, I can't do it right now. I'm doing my own stuff. Okay, I'm watching TV. The same thing, when your boss says, in general, in Indian context, we would not, vocally say that, oh, I can't do it, I'm doing something else. We'll have, even though I don't want to do, I'll have subtle reasons of saying that. I'll say, oh, I'm buried with work. I already have some work. So can you extend the timelines? Is that subtle way of saying no also? Because as Indians, we don't have that firm answer. Like generally, we don't say by and large a no. So that's how it is, right? So the behavior, which it is not that we all double faced. It is all about being professional. So the behavior which occurs, absolutely, Jyoti, it is. But then I think we all need to learn, right? Plus cultural changes are happening. I think with the coming generations, Gen Z and the generation ahead of them will definitely change this context. So yeah, these things, the way we behave in an organizational setting, that one is your organization behavior. Now, again, I will say that I'm going to ask you certain questions. I would want all of you to answer that. Okay. Now we'll see that, okay, which all areas. So organization behavior would have its essence in some other areas as well. So let's talk about it. Okay, I'll ask you a question. Okay, you all have to answer. So I was planning to send some chocolates to you all. Okay, I'll take from Pranjay, I'll take your address. So would you like to have some chocolates? Please answer to that so that I can take your addresses and send it across. Would you like to have some chocolates, guys? Huh? Yes, Suhas, Sanay, Jyoti, Abhishek, Basappa, Vibhor. Why not, Satish? Absolutely. Why not? Why not? Yes, Ganesh. Okay, Jibin, everybody has kind of agreed to having these chocolates. Yeah, Yunus, absolutely. I'm going to get the address and send it across. Yes, Ambrish and Kravila. Okay, but I'm so sorry. I just forgot to tell you the name of the chocolates. Would you still like to have these chocolates? Huh, Rahul? Would you like to have Satish Harpic chocolates? You would like to have? Huh? Would you want to have? Tell me, guys, still you're up for the offer? Yusuf, I made your morning and then I disappointed you. Still, yes, Ganesh is smart. So what I mean to say from here is that everybody has become quiet. You are not liking me, huh? That I did like this, Jyoti. Yeah, because yes, what happens, Jibin, as soon as we hear the word Harpic, what happens, Yachi? Very interesting name, huh? What happens as soon as we hear the name Harpic, we see Akshay Kumar barging through your house and saying that, is your washroom clean? Yahi hota hai, that's what happens. So yeah, so why I wanted to tell you this example is that, see, psychology is very important. We all have been throughout our childhood, when we know certain things in certain manner, that's an image. And that's how many brands do not work. See why it is so important for us to understand people's psychology. Because see what happens, Basappa, imagine that I am, so you have few people reporting to you. Okay. And then do you also agree that everybody's motivation would be different? I might be motivated with money. Ganesh might be an individual who's motivated with achievements, okay? Achieving difficult targets and all. Gaurav might be an individual who likes to, likes to have more promotions and all these things of, right? So do you agree that, Basappa, that every individual who is in your team would have a different motivation? Some people are motivated by money. Some people would be motivated by name, fame. Some people would be even motivated by power. Huh? Do you agree, guys? So that's how it is very important for you to understand their motivation. So if what happens, Gaurav, if I'm motivated by money and Gaurav gives me a work in which, I would be getting employee of the month, it would probably not motivate me because my intention is money. I want money. Whereas another individual who comes from, say, for example, Ambarish comes from a very, very stinkingly rich family. For him, money is not the greatest motivator. For him, that fame and everybody knowing Ambarish is maybe the most important thing. So you giving Ambarish where he'll get some incentive might not motivate him as much as it will to me. So that's how it is very important to understand people around you, your team, your peers. See, for example, you may have seen many bosses, what they like, yeah, many bosses, yes, Suhas, many bosses would tell you, yeah, Ari, don't send me mail, just pick that phone and get it sorted. Whereas many bosses would like everything to be documented. So you will have to, wherever you're working with kind of individual, you will have to tweak it. So Jibin likes to pick up that call and get it sorted. Okay. Whereas Jyoti might like to document everything. So you cannot vice versa. If you keep on calling Jyoti, she would not give you an approval because she wants an email. Okay. So that's how we need to understand people's psychology so that you can dish out what is required and get the best work done. Because at the end of the day, we want a congenial, good a friendly, healthy environment at workplace. So that's how it is important to understand people. Now, industrial psychology. So I'm pretty sure many of you would have watched this particular ad, right? See, yeah, exactly. You have to understand individual and then do it accordingly. So industrial psychology means how you behave as an individual at work. Because at work there would be power, politics, different kind of relationships, right? So many things occurring. See, what is important, if you see this ad, in this ad they show that there's this individual, okay, and he is the subordinate of the lady whose picture I've shown right on the slide. So he's a subordinate, she's the boss. She gives him some work and she tells him that today you need to complete this work by so and so time. Now he does not like it, because of course he had some plans to go home on time. So, but any which ways, boss has said it, so he needs to do it. So in the evening, they show the boss she picks up a bag and goes home, whereas this guy is at work only. Now he doesn't seem to be very happy. But they show that boss, she goes home, she cooks a number of dishes, and then she video calls her husband. And turns out that the individual who was her subordinate at work is her husband. So what I want to say from here, from industrial psychology, is that you may have great relationship. It may happen that, Jyoti and Jibin are best of friends. Okay, they're best of friends. But when it comes to work front, you have to be thorough professional. Okay, that's what we will talk about in perception. That just because you all share the same feelings, you all are similar, you can't be cutting a slack or doing extra favors to people. People do that, but that's not correct. So that's what industrial psychology is all about, to understand how individuals behave as employees. Right, that's your industrial psychology, and that bit is very important. See, many of us, whilst we were growing up in school and college, we would have had our parents as our teachers or as our principal. But yes, they would have been stricter with you because they wanted to put the message right, that there's no partiality or no extra favors being done to people just because you are their son or a daughter, right? So that's what is important to understand. Another bit is, who is this guy? If you can tell me, who is this guy on the picture? Justin Bieber, absolutely. So imagine Akash, Gaurav, Basappa, Yachi, you going for a Justin Bieber concert all alone. How would you like it? Huh? All alone. Would you enjoy it? Naina, absolutely. But when you go with your group, your inner circle, so as what happens? Yachi wouldn't go only. Then what happens when you go with your group, even, it's the most boring place. So Abid, the previous slide I wanted to say is that I told you, did you understand the advertisement which I was telling? Okay, how that individual turns out to be her subordinate and he's her husband. Yeah. See what happens, Abid, though they had personal relationship as spouse, right? But when it comes to work front, you cannot cut a slack. You have to be thorough professional. That's what industrial psychology, it deals with different aspects, different problems in organization as an employee, what we face. So though, see, that's what is important, Abid. You and Jyoti might be very good friends, but when you come to work front, you have to be a professional. You cannot give a better rating to Jyoti because, she's very good friend of yours, your childhood friend and all. You have to. So you can foster personal relationship on personal front. But when it comes to work front, you have to be thorough professional. That's what this particular ad tells us. Are we clear? Are we clear? Yeah, lovely. Now, sociology, that's what I was saying, that even if have you noticed this thing, we may go for a very serious movie with our friends. Maybe you're going for a very serious movie, but you all make a joke, right? Hota hai? It happens, like you crack jokes and all, that serious movie looks so funny. Okay, that's what happens, like when you are. So sociology tells us how we behave in a group setting. One-to-one, we might be totally different, but when it comes to group, we might be different. So for example, if individuals, who are very extrovert, they love to be in a group setting. They will, because they derive their energy from others. Whereas some people, they might be very good one-on-one, but in group setting, they might not be comfortable. Do you all agree to this bit? It happens. So sociology talks about that only, yeah, how you behave in a group setting, how your behavior is in balance to other people's behavior. Okay. Yeah. And then cultural anthropology. So first of all, yeah, what is anthropology? So anthropology is how, as a human, we have evolved from early man to today's, Homo sapiens, how we have evolved. And cultural anthropology talks about that how in different culture, how we behave as human beings in different culture. So Pritpal, do you agree that a culture has a huge impact on our behavior? Because there are certain things which are acceptable in my culture, it might not be, right? If you talk about in India is a hub of diversity. Trust me, you go few kilometers, you'll find a new culture. Few kilometers, Mumbai mein, if you go from Borivali to say Andheri, it is a different culture. From Andheri to you go to Santa Cruz, another culture. From there you go to South to Mumbai, it would be a different culture. So yes, India is a hub of diversity. So it's many times when the organizations mergers and all happen, it may fail because of one thing, that is your people not understanding each other's culture. Your organization may blend beautifully on a balance sheet, but when you don't understand culture, that is the biggest failure. And that's what happens with, like, you take simple personal example of marriages. It's very important to understand each other's family culture, then only we can blend in very well. Otherwise it becomes very difficult for the spouses, right, to blend with each other's family. So on that note, I'm going to show you a very beautiful ad, okay? And once we are done watching this ad, I would want you to tell me which one is your favorite. So just give me a moment. I am going to show you that ad. Okay. Are we there on the video page? Amrish, Jibin, are we there? Yeah, now are we there on the video page? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's watch this video. And then towards the end, you have to tell me which one was your favorite.
In some Asian cities, it's considered acceptable for a commuter to fall asleep on the shoulder of a stranger. In New York, it's quite a different story. Of course, you could always adapt. We're the global bank that never underestimates the importance of local knowledge. HSBC, the world's local bank.
好容易就簡單啊，就咁就發達。
大家飲杯，飲杯，飲杯，得啦！大家食啊！好嘢啊！好食啊！湯飲埋先。
The English believe it's a slur on your host's food if you don't clear your plate. Whereas the Chinese feel you're questioning their generosity if you do.
買少啲啊！好，買少嚟。
At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge. Which is why we have local banks staffed by local people in over 80 countries across the globe.
伙計，搞掂啦！
HSBC, the world's local bank.
In America, if you hit a hole-in-one, you're expected to buy everyone a drink.
However, in Japan, it's traditional to buy your playing partners expensive gifts.
Same hole.
At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge. HSBC, the world's local bank.
Which one was your favorite? Tell me that. We'll come back to our slides, but then you have to tell me which one was your favorite. The third one? Okay. I like the second one. Yeah, the eel one, right? Where according to one's culture, you need to finish all the food which has been provided you by the host. And in another one, it was all about, if you finish your food, that means you're questioning the host's generosity. So which are you like the first one? Okay, lovely. I think many of us like second and third. For second, no? What, Jyoti, you don't like it? Train one for Basappa also. Okay, lovely, lovely. Okay, now we'll talk about the next part, which is about your personality. So if you see all these pictures over here, you know that these are all the prime ministers of India, right? From our first prime minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to our current prime minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Now, what is required to be a prime minister of India? You have to be a citizen of India. That is the first requirement. And you have to be, if you are from Lok Sabha, then 25 years and above, and Rajya Sabha 35 years and 30 years and above, something like that, right? So we all know that all these people are fulfilling the criteria to be a prime minister of India. They all had that age-wise, they qualified. And if you are not from either house of the parliament, then within 6 months of getting the prime minister, entering the prime minister's office, being prime minister, you will have to be within 6 months. So do you all agree that everybody had these qualifications, the bare minimum which was required? Yeah? Yes, no? Yeah. But also one more thing I wanted to ask is that, do you think they have the same style of working? They all are the prime ministers, na, at the end of the day. How does it matter? Yeah, absolutely not. Though Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, yeah, not the same style at all, Gaurav. So though the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the father of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and she was the mother of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, but you'll see even their styles were different. Right? Absolutely different styles of handling things, everybody. So that's what personality is. I always say when you talk about personality is your like CTC, cost to the company, right? It has everything. So even in personality, you have every bit of it. You have your, physical characteristics. That is also a part of your personality, your moral characteristics, your physical, your mental, your emotional, okay, all these things together, they make a personality. So personality comes from a Latin word which means persona. And what do we mean by persona? Persona is a theatrical mask. And why do we wear a mask in theaters? Either I want to portray myself to be somebody else, or I want to hide my own identity. So that's what. So personality is a sum total of everything. Okay, I'll ask you a question. What is your favorite food? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food? Come on, let's talk food. Sunday morning, we all have, after this, we all have lunchtime. Sweets for Madhuri. Madhuri, you like sweets? Biryani for Jabin. Prawns for Vijay. Nilesh likes Indian veg special paneer. Okay, paneer items Nilesh likes. Okay. So prawns, biryani, sweets, paneer. That's it. No one is foodie here. Nobody wants to talk about food. Dosa, authentic homemade dishes for Gaurav. Mukesh, biryani. Vijay likes all seafood. And Nilesh likes Bengali sweets. You like Nolen Gore Rasgulla, right? Thai food as well for Madhuri. And Abhishek likes dosa. I think dosa is a very healthy choice. Okay. Now, talking about it, imagine that whatever basappa you're eating tastes like masala dosa. Mansi, whatever you eat tastes pasta. Nilesh, whatever you eat tastes like a particular item which is your favorite. Would you like it? Arabian, even like, Lebanese, you're having shawarma, abid, and everything tastes like that. Would you like it after a certain point of time? Would we like it? No, none of us. That's what personality, it's flavor. If Madhuri becomes like me, or I become like Gaurav or Jibin, we all will become so predictable, there wouldn't be any fun. I would know, because what Mansi is going to do next, I would know. What Madhuri is going to do next, I would know. What Yachi is going to do next, I would know. Because we all are same. We all are think alike. That's how personality is, even though you are, no two individuals are same. Not even siblings, let alone siblings, not even twins. Everybody has their own individuality, and there are these traits or characteristics which makes our personality, and that makes it interesting. It's like a flavor. Every dish would have some significance. See, that's how it is important to understand that you may have the same lineage, same family values, but still we all turn out to be different individuals. That's how our trait will define us, how we become different individual. So a small personality test, we can do it. Just let's do it. It's just a fun test. Nothing. This one, I think. Okay, I think it's by mistake. It's the same. I'll show it to you later, because I think by mistake I've given the same link which was there. So yeah, so personality can differ. There can be, there are individuals, when something happened to them, they understand, they assimilate, and then they give a response to it. And some people, with a drop of a hat, you will react. So yeah, so every individual is different. You especially look around your siblings, your own kids. Some of them, you don't have to ask them to sit and study. They are self-conscious. They'll come home, do their homework, do everything done. For some, you will have to pester them, kar lo, likewise. And that's how it is important for you to understand people in your organization. Likewise, see what happens in organization. You may have some people who would, you give them the targets and the timeline, they will give a wonderful work within those timelines. Some people procrastinate, and you might have to give them a little nudge or a push to get things done. So that is the reason, precisely, you need to understand people around you. Now, one of the theory which I would be touching upon today is your psychoanalytic and trait theory, 2 theories, and the rest ones we would be doing on session number 2. Now, I have a question for all of you. Like, what do you think, at what age our personality starts shaping up? What age? Anybody has an, okay, Akash says 15 years. Anybody has a differing viewpoint? 3+ for Madhuri. Okay, 20 for Suhas. Okay. Okay. So I have gotten a different perspective. Somebody thinks in teen, somebody thinks in early years. Oh, Nilesh has the correct answer with him. It is since birth. Absolutely correct. Our personality starts shaping up right from the day we are born. The kind of exposures we have in life, right from childhood, that shapes us to be today what you and I are today. Absolutely, Vijay. And what you and I are today is a sum total of what has been with us throughout our childhood. So yes, Sigmund Freud, if you must have heard his name, Sigmund Freud, you can say, is the father of psychology, and he talks about personality. He has given this personality psychoanalytic theory, which is used by organization, which is used by psychologists to understand the underlying issues in human personality. See what happens. You might have seen somebody had a very abusive childhood. That shows in that individual's personality. Maybe because that individual has so many, mishaps with him or her. So for that individual to trust everyone would not be very fine, right? Would not be an easy process. Do you all agree to this bit? So yes, right from a childhood. So if you in the childhood you had loving, parents, you have grown up in, and what do you say, in a joint family, you like to be around people right from childhood. If you haven't seen such thing, you have been a loner, it really impacts our behavior, trust me, you see. And that's what brings in some issues, underlying issues with us also, the things which are not resolved during our childhood, that we carry along, and that is embedded deep inside us, which we, that is in an unconscious level, which we don't even understand, we don't recognize, but those issues stay there. It's very, very deep. We wouldn't come to know, okay, because that has already happened. Over the years we have moved on, but that is embedded. It's buried very deep. And because of that, some personality issues may creep in. Now, as per Sigmund Freud, we have 3 parts of our personality. It is ego, super ego and id ego and super ego, 3 parts of our personality. Now I'll tell you what, so I'll just give you the gist here, that id is that part of your personality which always seeks pleasure. Id is like a child. Mujhe khush hona hai, I don't care about others. I should get the maximum. Whatever my heart desire, I should get that. So that is id. Now, and then super ego is that part of your personality which will ask you to go by the moral values. So super ego would ask you, oh, Vijay, don't do this. It is wrong. Okay. So super ego is like a parent, always abiding to do what I've seen as society wise, which is, or morally, which is deemed to be as correct. But tell me one thing, everyone, do you think every time to, accept these two extreme is fine? Either making myself happy or the society happy. Every time to choose between these two extreme is easy. Do we do that? Either I'll make myself happy or the society happy. Do we do that, guys? Not possible, na? So we all living in a realistic world. We have to find a realistic solution. Huh, Sunny? Jyoti, balance, lovely, Sunny. Right? Yunus? That's what practical word. We have to find practical solutions for that. And hence comes here your ego. So ego understand that we live in a practical world. So let's find a practical solution. So every time, ego rationalizes things. Ego finds, okay, a little bit of yours and a little bit of yours. So that's you combine. For example, let me make it clear with example here. It may happen that you have your, examination coming up and you have a party. You all say like, let's go hot 12. You are going to meet each other. We're going to have fun. And then you have an examination, behavioral sciences examination next day. And it may happen that it says, go have fun. When are you going to meet your course mates? Cohort 12, they all are having, everybody is wanting to have so much of fun. Let's go. So it is asking you to go for party and have fun. Super ego is saying, what is this, Jyoti, Yunus? You have spent so much of money in this course. You have given lakhs of rupees for this course. You have spent your time. And now at the end moment, why are you wasting it? So super ego would not want you to go. See what happens in this case? You will do what of course, it is pushing you to go. Super ego is asking you not to go. So some of us may give up to our id. Aisa nahi hai that we would not. Some of us are like, okay, chuck it. Next time I'll manage the examination. I'll go for the party. Some of us would not go for the party. We'll listen to our super ego. Okay, fine, I am going to study and all those things. And some of us, what we'll do, we may find a balance between that. Let me do one thing. Let me study everything, go for the party for 2-3 hours, come back, pull an all-nighter, study all night and take my examination. And that's what is your ego. So do we get that concept? Of course, I will be talking more about in the next class, but this is how the entire concept works. Then comes your trait theory. And as I was saying that, although you might have seen, you have siblings. Do you think that your siblings are just like you? Are they? Or you have kids, 2 kids in case if you have, do you think they are just like each other? Are they same? No, na Madhuri, never. Yeah, absolutely. They're very different. That's what trait theory says. Totally opposite. Okay. Yeah, that's generally happens with siblings. Yes. So trait, first of all, what is a trait? So trait is a characteristic or an attribute which is very long lasting. In general, the traits do not change. And we always use the word relatively in behavioral science because under normal circumstances, it's going to be in a certain manner. So that's how we say relatively permanent. So traits are your relatively permanent until and unless something, life-changing, disastrous or life-altering incident happens, it is going to stay with you. Okay. So as per the trait theory, all of us have that special characteristics or special trait, which makes us differentiate between one another. So when people are talking about some individual and they might not have said the name, okay, and then when you know each other and people are talking about, they haven't even called the name and all, and then when you are listening to this and you may say, okay, Ganesh might have said this is what is trait. You don't even know, but because of their traits and their behaviors, you can predict who has said. Are you all there with me? Are you all able to understand? Okay, when friends talk to each other and you are talking about an individual, though you would not have named him, but because of that traits, you would know ki acha isne hi bola hoga. Do you all agree? Because Madhuri can't do it. Madhuri might not have done it. Oh, he had given such a rational answer. Rationality, it might be given. That's how. So this is what trait is. It will show the variation between two individuals. That's how we would be able to differentiate between people. Traits are relatively stable, as I said, until unless some life-altering incident happen, it is going to stay with us. And yes, it will tell us how traits will tell us how we'll behave in a situation. Have you watched this movie? Which movie is this? Story of Two Brothers. Devar, Shashi, absolutely. Yes, Yunus. What happens, Vibhor, in this movie? You will see these are two brothers, and they have had the same childhood. They have had the same set of parents, same kind of upbringing, same kind of value system. But because of the traits, one individual, one brother, he sees that, all these powerful people, they're trying to belittle them. They're trying to rip them out of their rights and all. So he says that I'm going to be a good individual when I grow up. I'm going to be in police so that I can combat these people. I can help the ones who are in need. Okay, that's his perspective. His trait picked it up. The other brother, he thinks, okay, this is what happens with poor. This is what happens with people in need. I'm going to be a bigger goon than these people and show them. So that's what, even though they are from the same lineage, they've got same set of parents, same values, and everything is same. But because of your characteristics or your traits, you tend to pick out different things, and that's how it is, right? So this is your trait theory. Now, Big Five personality theory. So we would be talking this Big Five personality theory with the help of a caselet in our second class. So in this, I'll just give you a overall gist of it, because this is to be talked in detail in the next class. So all of us have these Big Five personality traits. Vibhor can't say, oh, I don't have this one. All of us. So first disclaimer is that all of us, and it also goes by the name of ocean. So O is for openness to experience, C is for conscientiousness, E is for extroversion, A is for agreeableness, and N is for neuroticism, which is emotional stability. If you are highly neurotic, that means your emotional stability is less. If you're less neurotic, that is your high on emotional stability. So as per this, all of us in this entire class have these Big Five personality traits. But the thing is that it is on a scale. So some of us may have, the magnitude would be different. So Gaurav may be very high on extroversion, maybe Vibhor is low on extroversion. Okay, Yunus may be very high on conscientiousness, Pooja might be very low. So, or in between. So it's on a scale where we might be falling on either of the part or in between as well. So that this is what is Big Five personality trait. Extroversion is that how we like to be in open group setting. If you're high in extroversion, you like to be in a group setting. Conscientiousness is that, are you organized? Okay, high in conscientiousness, that means highly organized, place for everything and everything in place kind of individual. Agreeableness means compassionate, empathy. High on agreeableness, highly compassionate. Okay, low on agreeableness, that means you're suspicious, antagonistic. Emotional stability, yes, how you can combat any kind of situation. Okay, do you get embarrassed easily? Okay, do you get overwhelmed with emotions? So that's what we will be discussing in emotional stability. And openness to experience would be how susceptible you are for any kind of changes happening. Do you like to be in your own cocoon and do not want to get out of your comfort zone? And you are one individual who likes to experiment, likes to explore. So that is your openness to experience. So that's what these things. Okay. So this is, I'm just giving you the gist of making you understand. When we go further, like the next Saturday, when we have a class on this, we will be discussing it in detail with a caselet. Okay. I'll tell you a story about perception. So this is personality. Now we go forward and talk about perception. So perception, there's a story which goes like that. There were these old couple, they go to a fair and from there they buy a donkey. And when they're coming home, so all three of them are walking. There's one set of people who come and say, look at these people. Yeah, well, look at these two people. They're so stupid. Okay, they have a donkey and still they're walking. Now what happens? Hearing to this, the husband and wife, they hop onto the donkey and they take their journey ahead. So another set of people, they come and say, how heartless, ruthless these people are. They have no mercy on this poor animal. Listening to this, the wife feels bad, and the husband feels bad, and he says, like, he tells his wife, you continue the journey, I'll walk along with you. Fine. Again, another set of people come and say, look at this, individual. He's a boss. He's the man of the house, and he's walking, and this lady is enjoying. Now the wife feels bad. He's like, you know what? You sit and I'll walk along. That's what they do. And then people, again, another set of people come and say, oh, look at these people, selfish man. He should have let his wife sit on the donkey and all. Now they have tried every permutation combination, right? Now they're confused what to do next. So what they do, they start carrying the donkey on their shoulder. Again, another set of people come and make fun of them. So the thing is that, trust me, we can't please everybody around. We can't do that. That's not possible. So trust me, in case if you're doing something which you believe in, you are not sabotaging or harming anyone, please go for it. Because you must have heard, which Hindi movie song comes to this? The story, huh? Kaun sa Hindi movie song is there which kind of really, really comprehends the story? Anyone knows it? Nobody listens to Hindi music? कुछ तो exactly मानसी, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. People will, yeah, exactly, Sunny. People will say no matter what. People always have a point of opinion, and that is fine. Okay? Absolutely, they will have, Vijay, like everyone would have a point of opinion. But if you're doing something which you really believe in and you're not harming anyone, let people say whatever. Absolutely, yes, do it. You don't have to think about what people are doing because you're not doing anything wrong to anyone. So that's what your belief in things have to be very important. So that's perception. So perception, if you look into this picture, one individual is saying it's 6, another is saying 9. If we see from their perspective, both of them are correct in their own perspective. The problem happens when the conflict will happen. So, Vijay has one perspective, I have another perspective. The problem between Vijay and I will happen when I don't see Vijay's perspective and Vijay doesn't see my perspective. That time the conflict happens. Trust me, most of the conflict we can resolve the day I start seeing your perspective and you start seeing my perspective. Our problems would be solved. So perception is that everybody is going to have one. You have to be, you have to believe in what you're doing. Perception can be visual perception when I see something and I try to understand and interpret in a manner. And sometimes I hear something. Okay, then I try to understand, listen, make out with something, what has been said, and attach a meaning to it. That is your auditory perception. Now I'll tell you one thing. Okay, if just a scenario, if you're given some 40 lakhs or so, okay, and you have to buy one car. Okay, don't say that we are going to invest, I'll buy Maruti, so many cars I'll buy and give it for Ola, Uber. No, I don't want those answers. So if you're given 40 lakhs and if you're asked to buy one car, which car would you like to buy? By the time I'll sip water, I would see your answers here. Skoda for Madhuri, Shashi, Fortuner, Nilesh, XUV 700, Sunny, Thar. Things have become absolutely expensive units. Whichever, like whatever you would want, right? You may have 5 choices. Which one is your choice? Land Rover for Aditya. Kripa is also wanting to go for XUV 700. Okay, what else? Thar for Jyoti. Yunus is going to go for Jeep. Basappa, BMW X1. Abid, MG electronic vehicle. Okay. Vijay, Audi X5. And the war for Abhishek. Lovely. Okay. Very nice. So I also, Mansi is going to go for Fortuner. Now, I have another question. Which car comes to your mind when we say Hyundai? Tell me, first car, Creta. Okay, Creta. Most of you are saying Creta. If you would have been, 90s people, you would have said, Consi, you would have said, Sandro, absolutely. Now that's what Hyundai Sonata. None of you said that you want to buy, if you get 40 lakhs or so, you're going to buy Sonata. See, yeah, Santro was like the sunshine car. We used to go, growing up, we used to go watch, movie hall in theater mein, and the first ad used to be Shah Rukh Khan and Preeti Zinta coming up and talking about the sunshine car, Santro. So yeah, so I think, the Santro introduced the mid-segment, good car, comfort car and all. So now talking about it, none of you said that you want to buy a Sonata for that 40 lakh. Trust me, Sonata is a good car. But in India, the mindset, that's how we perceive. In India, the mindset of all of us has become that when we talk about Santro, it's a mid-segment car, it's a compact car. You cannot, when you talk about luxury, you all said it, it's cheap, or it's Endeavour, or it is Fortuner, or it's BMW, or none of you said Merc though. Yeah. So that's how the concept has become. We do not associate Hyundai with a luxury car segment. Do you all agree? And that's how, even with Maruti, and that's how they came up with Nexa, right? That's precisely the reason they want to rebrand it differently. So yes, what happened? It was a failure in India, Sonata, and that's how then they had to facelift it. Okay, facelift it, bring it back, relaunch it. They retracted it from the market, facelifted it, brought it back, but again, a failure. Because yes, we somehow, Hyundai means a compact car division or mid-segment car. We don't associate it with luxury. And who is this guy? Who is this guy here? Hugh Jackman. And Rahul, you know what? When we talk about Hugh Jackman, he was the face of Micromax. Okay, but if you talk about the target group of Micromax, it was mostly the tier 2 cities and all, where people could not relate to Micromax. He was just another Firang, something like what happened with Pierce Brosnan in that Pan Masala ad, right? For them, it doesn't matter. They're not able to relate to Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was just a white-skinned individual for people, and that they couldn't relate. Of course, Micromax did have other problems as well, but it failed. And after that, do you know whom they passed on the baton? The perception is very important, how you look into people, how you perceive people. After this, they had given it to Kapil Sharma. That's how it has some mass appeal. People relate to it, people understand. First, we perceive him to be just a Firang. It doesn't matter to us. So yeah, Micromax failed. Okay, now I'm going to show you one of the most beautiful ad of Dove. Whatever you are doing, guys, whatever, trust me, whatever you are doing, keep it aside and watch this video. Okay, it's a very beautiful video of Dove. Are we there on the video page? First of all, tell me that. Huh? Yeah, thank you, Jyoti, Abhishek, Sunny. Thank you so much.
I always thought people were so cute when they have the little cheeks and they're like rosy, but mine are pretty plain. If I was gonna change one feature about my face, I would say that I would want fuller lips.
I'm definitely a person that looks tired when I'm tired, and when people say that, I immediately am like, oh man. I'm starting to already get little crow's feet and stuff, which like my mom has, so yeah.
I'm a forensic artist. I was trained at the FBI Academy in 1993 in composite art. Worked for the San Jose Police Department as the police artist from 1995 to 2011.
We didn't really know what we were doing, so that was nerve-wracking for everyone.
I showed up to a place I'd never been and walked into this big warehouse, and at the very end there was a guy with his back to me with a drafting board.
I had a curtain separating me so that I don't see him. We'll begin. First of all, tell me about your hair.
Brown, long, I guess a little bit past my shoulders.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
Yeah, they're brown eyebrows, dark brown eyebrows.
Okay.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
I guess I haven't really compared it to anyone else's chin, but especially when like I smile, I just feel like it kind of protrudes a little bit.
What would be your most prominent feature?
I kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
You sort of realize, oh man, now I have to talk about myself and think about my looks.
I'm 40, so I'm starting to get a little bit of the crow's feet thing going on.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
I still didn't know. All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin was a nice, thin chin.
The women were really critical about moles or scars or things like that, and yet they were describing just a normal, beautiful person.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke and were very expressive.
The length of the nose, what is that like?
Short.
Short.
Yeah, cute nose.
Her face was fairly thin.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
Okay. So here we are. So this is your self-described image. And then somebody else described you and I did this sketch.
I have this whole thing about having dark circles and crow's feet around my eyes, and that was not part of the sketch at all that the stranger did. The stranger's was a little more like gentle.
It's pretty different. Which is very strange. She looks closed off and fatter. She just looks kind of shut down. Sadder, too. The second one is more beautiful.
Do you think they're catching more of that from you?
Yeah. She looks more open and friendly and happy. I've come a long way in how I see myself, but I think I still have some way to go.
I have some work to do on myself.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. Yeah. Chloe's perception was so clearly different. Her picture looked like somebody I thought I would want to talk to and be friends with, like a happy, light, much younger, much brighter person. It's troubling. I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Our self-perceptions are generally kind of harsh and unbecoming when really that's not how the world sees us. We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right, and we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
Did you like that? Did you like it? Aren't we very harsh on ourselves? All of us, I think, are very harsh on ourselves. We never give us credit for doing something good. We always attribute, fine. Oh, this is what it is. We always attribute it to external factors. And Kripa, if somebody even says that, oh, wow, Kripa, you look so pretty, you would always have a reason. Oh, probably I'm wearing a black today, or probably I've done this. We always, the way the confidence somehow is something like that. We never say that, oh, thank you so much. Okay, we don't, do you all agree to this bit? This is what happens in general. So yeah, we perceive, and that's what I say, people would have a perception. We have to be kinder to ourselves. And that's very important. We have to give credit to the work which we are doing. We don't have to be always, always critical about ourselves, our choices and all that. So I think it's high time for us to understand this thing, that these things are very, very important for us to uh, give ourselves little credit, a pat on the back. It is important for all of us. Talking to the next topic, in the forthcoming classes, we would be also talking about group dynamics. We always say the gaggle of geese, a herd of elephants, a bevy of girls, a school of fish, a pod of dolphins. These are all collective nouns, and that's what happens in a group. When you are a part of a group, it is but natural. There's going to be some, tussle. There's going to be some, what do you say, dynamics within the group. Some power, power tussle is going to be there. Sometimes we all conform to the norms of the group. It may happen that I'm a part of a group and I don't agree to a certain thing, but I don't want to, channelize my energy in resolving the conflict. So I don't want to get into a conflicting situation. So I may just, give up in the group and say, I do agree. So sometimes that group pressure, works in that manner. So group, when we talk about, yes, there's going to be interaction, and we feel powerful when we are a part of a group, because, at the end of the day, I know somebody's watching my back if I'm a part of a group. So we all are social beings. I think it becomes very, very important for us to interact with people. Okay. But in group, there would be some members would be more dominant, and they may put pressure on another group members. That happens. And group, definitely it affects the decision making. And going by our childhood, where even to cancel one class and go early, we will go all in a group to our principal's office, to Princi's office. We would used to do that, right? Okay, we want to, can we all go early today, or can we have a free period instead of an extra period or something like that? So yeah, it gives us a sense of satisfaction. It makes us feel more powerful. When I'm battling in silo versus when I am battling with a group, I feel more powerful in a group. In a silo, I might, feel a little overwhelmed. But yes, in a group, I feel more powerful. So yes, all these group dynamics in the coming class, we would be talking about, yes, Bruce, it is a very important theory. Okay, always very relevant. So it talks about, there are the 5 stages of group development, which is given, or the team. So this is known as team building theory or a group development theory, which is given by Bruce Tuckman. So as per Bruce Tuckman, there are 5 stages of group formation. We would be discussing these stages in our forthcoming class in more detail, but I'll give you a gist today. So this is forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. The first stage of group formation is forming. That is the first time when we meet our group members. So we all are shy, we all are anxious, we don't know what is going to happen. So we try to put our best foot forward. Okay, we tried, and this is general exchange of pleasantries and things like that. That's a forming stage. Next stage, we go to storming. Many groups, they fall in, they fail during the storming phase. And storming, because the ideas clash here, brainstorm happens, we don't agree to each other, conflict will happen and all. But once you have been through the storming phase, you go to the next phase, which is your norming phase. That means now we set some rules and regulation. We say, okay, this is how we need to work, and we all comply to it. We all start understanding each other better. We all start, fitting like a jigsaw puzzle, right? We all now come to some kind of conclusion. All that's your norming stage. From norming stage, once we have understood each other, we have understood each other's strengths and all, we are performing at our best. During a performance stage, our performance is at peak. We are doing absolutely amazing. Okay, we are going ahead, we are moving ahead. So that's your performing stage. And because we have worked so well coordinated in performing stage, we go to the next stage, which is adjourning phase. That means at this phase, our work is completed, and we all have formed a group to complete a task. That task is over. Now what happens? The group disperses. And that's what and now by this time we have had attachment with the group. So, this is what happens. You all are doing your MBAX together. Okay, your group is formed. Initially, you were just exchanging pleasantries. Then you had some storming of ideas. Now you all are close-knit, cohesive unit. You all were working together, okay, helping each other in Python or this analytics, that. And then your performance was at par. And towards the end of 18 months, you would be done with with your MBA specialization in business analytics. And that day when you would have your convocation, you will have a kind of farewell feeling, and then you will feel a sense of loss, because by this time you all have become so attached to each other. And that's the reason it is known as adjourning or even mourning phase. So this is your team building theory. We'll be discussing, of course, this in detail. I'll show you video as well in the next class. I mean third class, I think. So here we'll talk about your teamwork lessons from Chak De India. Okay. Next time we'll talk about teamwork lessons from Apple, but this time from Chak De India. And I think Chak De is one movie which all of us must have watched, right? Chak De is that movie. So what do we learn from Chak De? So yeah, I'll show you this video a little later. No, I won't show you the video because every time I show this video, there's some copyright issue. And and then upgrade tells me, okay, so I will give you the link of the video. You all have to watch it and come back. So yeah, let's first watch the video. Let me give you the link here. Watch this video. Once you're done watching, please let me know on the chat box that you all have come back and I'm here only. Have you got the link? Mansi, yeah? हाँ ठीक है, we don't have copy facility from chat. Click करके तो you can go na, Jibin. You can't click on that and then go to that, this thing. Yeah, working? Chalo. Come back? Yeah. Come back and let me know. I'll send you that dove link also. Then you click and save from that browser. I'm here only. Any question you can ask me, I'm here only. Then we'll move forward. What happened, Abid? Did you get the link? So Abid, I've sent a link. Watch that video and come back. Okay, Pritpal. Are you done watching it? Yeah? Okay. Everyone, are you all done? Acha, some of you are not. Okay. It's a small 2 minutes video, 1.5 minute. Okay, so let me tell you the lessons of teamwork which we learn from Chak Day team. Yeah, it is. It is. So you'll see it is important when we are in a group, you will see this entire, if you have watched the movie, so you'll see how from, a group they were transformed into a team. So their, team formation started from that McDonald's fight. If you have watched the movie, it's a very good movie. If you want to know, for example, Lagan, Chak De, these are great movies when you talk about, teamwork and all. So it's very important. That's what they say, that everybody has to come together. And that's, he said that discipline is very important element. You cannot, you have, if you want to work as a team, you need to have discipline. You must have seen that how he made sure that if you are not respecting your fellow, players, your peers, then you are out of the team. You cannot. And it is all about the team. See, this is how it happens in organization. As he said, it is Team India, then your, then your railway or anything, and then whatever energy is left, it is for you. Likewise, it goes in organization. First, it is your organization. Okay. After the organization, it is your department or your function or your team, and then what is yours. So it is organizational goals, then your functions goals, and then your goal. You can't say, oh, it is marketing division. No, it is first your organization. That is very important. And you will see in this movie, these two girls, Preeti and Komal, they were always in loggerheads with each other. But towards the end, they understood that it is not about their win. So likewise, in department, you might be competing with people, but nothing becomes more important than your organization's goal. So you will, rather than, being in loggerheads with each other, you need to collaborate more. Gone are the days when companies will pit you against each other. If they are doing it, that's wrong. Pitting each other, still the time you can have flow, the creative juices, that is good. But for, the best thing is that if you really want to sustain, you want to go ahead, it is important to bring people together, collaboration. I'll tell you one thing, please. Okay, trust me, if you can take this thing today from today's class, it would be great. By competing, you can go from level A to level B, but by collaboration now, you will go from level A to level Z. That's how. So important collaborating in today's, in teams, between people, it is very important. So that's what it is. It is first your organization. Plus another thing is that the kind of the iconic dialogue of the 70 minutes, those 70 minutes, he says it to every team member. So it is important that you have to inspire people in a group. If he would have said the same thing by taking people alag, separately, it wouldn't have the same effect as it would have when you take the entire team together. So that is important. Okay, it's all about team. It's collection of individual. You need to inspire them together. Okay, if you take every individual separately, it would never have had the kind of effect it had when everybody was together. You all can feel that. Okay. Then the next part, your team leader is very important. So here we'll call the coach Kabir Khan to be the team leader, because he was the one who pushed everybody. Okay. He was the one who instilled discipline. He was strict. So success does not come just like that. You have to have consistency. You have to have discipline. Hard work is equally important. Okay, so he did that. Okay, he made sure everybody came in the morning, early in the morning, went for the jog. Everybody was there, all disciplined, all working together. So that is important. Otherwise, they would have never achieved what they were able to. Okay, because if they never had the kind of team leaders. So your leaders are very important in your groups and teams. Okay, so the next bit is your understanding conflict. So shall we take a break right now? We'll come back after some times. What do you say? Yeah, we'll take a break right now. And then after the break, we'll do the rest of the thing. So yeah, so we'll come back by 12:05. Is that okay? 12:05, the break would be over. Huh? Okay, sure. Let's take a break right now. Hi, everyone. Let's come back to the class. So I have a question. So the question is that, are we all clear till now? Were we all able to understand what we are going to do in the forthcoming classes? Huh? Everyone, are we all clear with that? Yes. So Yunus, Mansi, Jibin, great. So when I say everyone, I hope it is everyone. Yeah, Shashi, lovely. Very, very nice. Thank you, Sunny. So we would be also talking about, in our third class, we'll be talking about your understanding conflict. We all know that whatever happens, you cannot avoid conflict. Conflict is something which is going to persist, right? It's like a bitter truth of any organization, any life. Not only in organization, we all have conflict in our personal lives as well. So what is conflict in generally? When two parties, they have opposing need, opposing wishes, opposing interests. It may be as simple as Jibin supporting Kolkata Knight Riders and Mansi supporting Mumbai Indians, okay, in IPL. So it can be as simple as that conflict as well, because your interests are different, you're supporting different teams. So of course, there's going to be a little conflict. So conflict, we all know, yes, it is detrimental if it goes beyond a certain threshold, but we always have seen conflict in the negative parlance. But if you see conflict, it can be viewed as positive as well. Because see, how do we view conflict as positive? If you are in conflict with something and Shashi does it for the betterment of his team, his organization, okay, that is a functional conflict. Okay, the flowing of the creative juices, Mansi and Sunny not agreeing to each other, they're churning all their creative juices, that's a functional conflict. Good competition, healthy competition, that's a functional conflict. But when conflict goes beyond a certain threshold, that becomes absolutely dysfunctional, because that's going to totally disarm us, totally going to create a very negative impact. So when we talk about what are the different sources of conflict, so in that class we would be discussing about communication. When main aspect everywhere of conflict is communication. So communication means when you and I, we both are on the same page. When whatever is here in my mind, I'm able to replicate the same in yours. That's what is my communication gone right. So most of the time, when we don't communicate with people, we are giving rise to conflict. But natural conflict will happen. Personal variables, yes, our personalities, differing personalities, of course conflict is going to happen. Okay, and trust me, like one more thing I want to say, why I would not go and be deep in these things, because these things we would be discussing in more in our classes. So today is, I'm pretty sure this is how it goes in other classes as well. So today I would be taking you through what you can expect in the forthcoming classes, right? So this one, as I said, it would be on a third session, okay, where we'll be talking about conflict, sources of conflict, how to resolve conflict, okay, conflict resolution techniques. We'll be talking about an unrealistic expectation. One child getting a percentage 60% throughout, and you are expecting him in the next term only to get 90%. That is unrealistic. Right from the beginning, I'm demotivated. I feel that you have intentionally given me this target because you all know that I wouldn't be able to finish it. So that is when you set unrealistic targets, and when you have unrealistic expectations from people. Give them challenging tasks, challenging targets, but yes, make it realistic. Then change. We all are very uncomfortable around change. We all like to maintain our status quo. So conflict happens when there is a change, because that demands some kind of alteration in us, and that's what puts us in conflict. Goals, when your department vis-a-vis another department, your goals are colliding. So it's always important that bring your goals together. Superordinate goals, so that you all are singing the same sheet of music, you're listening to the same music. So that's how you need to, rather than colliding your goals, make sure that your goals are superordinate with each other, and then you all are working together. As I said, rather than being in loggerheads, it's always better to collaborate. So that is your goals, and then difference in value. That's what happens with generation. Okay, this has happened with our generation. This has happened with previous generation. We always feel that we are not able to understand each other. Now, I have a question for all of you here. Did you have, when we were growing up, when I say growing up, like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and all those schooling times, we all have these subjects: physics, chemistry, math, geography. We have done some experiments in chemistry lab and said, oh, this is your this acid, this is this salt. We have done in physics that reflection, refraction. Kiya hai, everyone? Have we done these things? We have had these. In geography, we have had topography sheets. We have our maps and all. We all have done these things, right? Okay, I'll ask you a question and tell me, give me an honest answer. So this is what we have studied when we were growing up. Did any one of us have a subject called as leadership when we were growing up? Any one of us? During our schooling days, did we have a subject like leadership? None of us? Yeah, Kripa? No Vijay? No Sunny, Aditya, Ganesh? No Shashi, Abhi? No? Do you think if we had a subject like leadership, we would have been different individuals today? Huh? Gaurav? Do you think? Maybe? Yeah, Shujit? Yes? Definitely confidence would have been more. Has it happened with us that we know the answers and then we are always self-doubting ourselves. If I say this, it might be incorrect. Huh, Jibin? Not that leader though. Has it happened with us? That if I ask this question, people will laugh at me because it's a silly question. Okay, if I say this answer, maybe my answer is not wrong. Happened? Confidence lack, raising a question, raising a doubt. We have self-doubted ourselves. Or to come to that stage and you fear that, your heart is pounding so hard that others may listen to your heart. Yes, I think as individuals, all of us have gone through it. Trust me. Magnitude would have been different. Pooja might have gone more. You might have gone lesser. But do you all agree we all have been through this thing? And imagine if that time, which, when we were growing up, you would have seen the teachers would always, they were the chosen ones. Some people would be chosen ones. So for debate, some people's speech, elocution, only. Imagine if that time was invested in some individual who actually needed it. It would have really helped them to shape the personality. So we always have this question, can leaders be, are leaders born or made? We all can say we can create leaders. Trust me, we all can create leaders. And I think many of us would have had this stage fear. Many of us would have come a long way since we started it. So that's how it is. So, but if you talk about, and that's what I like about today's education system, you'll see that in younger days, you have kids. If you have kids around in your family and all, you will see nowadays every kid is given a stage time. They have something, an activity known as show and tell. So they will have to take an apple and they will have to talk about the apple. That ways they are garnering that confidence in them. You'll see even in annual school, annual function and all, they will make every student, every child participate. Even that you have to maybe be a tree and stand there. But yes, that element, and that's a good part of today's education. Okay, so do you all agree that we can create leaders? And kids today have better confidence than what we had when we were at their age. Because the exposure is also more. That another thing is that they have more exposure. We do not have. Okay? Yeah? Hamare ghar mein, when the land phone used to ring, we used to be so excited phone. And nowadays it is like they know every element. You would not know how to operate many of your laptops, your phone, more teach you better. Okay, so that is that they are being more confident, and that is good. Okay, now talking about leadership, yes, when we talk about leadership, it's how you influence people. Is my internet okay? Because it just showed me that it's getting unstable, so that I can switch on to other if it is causing any kind of fluctuation, any lag. If it is happening, I can switch on to other one. So you all have to tell me it's stable. Okay, fine. Nahi, theek hai? Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, so when we talk about leadership, it is about how you influence. Voice break, shall I change it? It just take few moments. Okay, I'll just change it. Now it is happening. It is breaking. Acha, I'll just take 30 more seconds. Please let me know in case it is. I can reconnect it again. It is okay. Yeah. Gaurav, is it okay for you? Jibin? Asta? Yeah, okay, fine. Okay. ठीक है. Thank you so much. Yeah. So yeah. I have noticed one thing, the Wi-Fi of the local operator is much better than your Airtel and all. है ना? Anytime yeah, they provide much better services. Okay, I just saw a question. I want to see that. Shujit, can we connect sometimes later for this question? I do understand this where it is coming from, but would you like me to discuss it in class, or you want to connect later sometimes for this one? Okay, now talking about, as I said, about leadership. Yeah, perfect. Leadership, when we say it is important, so it's not then when you're forcing on something on people, that is not leadership. Okay, that becomes very autocratic, though we do categorizes as leadership, but that's very autocratic. Now things are changing. Okay, things are changing rapidly. Contemporary leadership is very different from how in traditional times. In traditional time, leadership was all about, your followers pleasing you. Now it's reverse. Now you need to please your followers. So when you talk about leadership, these 4 skills are absolutely important. Assertive skill. Assertive skill is that when I say something to people, they would not take me for granted and say no, rather than they would comply to what I say without coming across as arrogant. Because in assertive skill and in arrogance, a very thin line is there. So we don't want to come across as arrogant, rather than we want to come across as firm. So assertive skill is that being firm. Communication skills. Communication skill is not, sometimes people think communication skills is about English. It's absolutely not. Communication is whatever language, even sign language. Okay, if you are able to communicate to people, if you are able to replicate your thoughts in that individual's head, if you both the parties are on the same page, that is what is communication skills. If whatever I am trying to make you understand, if you all are able to understand that bit, that means my communication has gone right. Okay, motivation skill. Your leader has to motivate and inspire people. If the leader himself would say, oh, looks very difficult, I don't think so we'll be able to do it. What happens? We ourselves will get demotivated, and that's not what it is, right? So motivational skills are again important. Plus, your leadership has to be agile and adaptive. We need to change ourselves with the changing scenarios, circumstances. I can't say that, oh, you know what, I have been successful for the entire thing is that because I am this how I am. Okay, I would not change. So if I want to be in my cocoon and wouldn't want to change, that means I'm not adaptive at all. I need to be adaptive. I need to be agile. I need to change as per the changing scenario. That is very, very important. Right? That's how you use your adaptive skills. Now, then this from till this we would be done. So in leadership, we'll be talking about different styles of leadership also: autocratic, bureaucratic, democratic, laissez-faire. All these leadership styles we would be discussing about, right? And then post that we would discuss about, then we go to, this is what we would be discussing in our session number 4. That is about the HR portion, human resource planning. Okay, so I always say this thing that we need to apply Pareto's principle here. It says that if you invest, if you apply Pareto's principle in planning, it is something like, if you invest a little bit of time in planning, then what happens? 80% of the work you are able to get done in 20% of time. Whereas if you do not plan at all, then you are wasting 80% of your time doing just 20% of work. So human resource planning, HR planning is a very important aspect. And what is HR planning? Right number of people at right place at right time. All 3 things have to fall in the right bracket. Right people, number of people have to be right, place has to be right, and your timing has to be right. If one of the things goes haywire, then your entire exercise becomes futile. So yes, right number of people, right place, right time. Okay, that is important. That's its manpower planning. See, we have to understand that surplus and shortage both are very harmful for the organization. If you have surplus, bench strength is too much, surplus, What is happening? Wastage of resources, wastage of money. People are not getting utilized well. And if you have shortage, what happens? Everybody is overwhelmed with work. They don't like it. Okay, you're overwhelmed with work. You're working extra hard, and that's what you're becoming demotivated because of that. Then we'll talk about JD. Okay, we all nowadays apply for jobs through Naukri, Indeed, LinkedIn. You must have seen JD there. JD is all about the job which you're doing. It is every nitty-gritty about the job, every detail about the job, how to do it, what are the job duties, job responsibilities, which place, everything, whatever, what are the time frame, what are the sub jobs which you need to do, what is the job, profile. So every day, this is a factual statement about the entire job which you are supposed to do. Your JD has to be very clear, because until unless is your JD. How to calculate manpower? Shriji, that's in manpower planning, we do a various methods. So though it is not there in your course, I'll just let you know these things. So you do ratio analysis, trend analysis, Delphi technique is there, then management's perspective. So you can do qualitatively also through management consultant. Those people who are analyzing is over the period of time, they give you the forecast that is known as management forecast. Or else you can do it quantitatively, where you historical trend analysis you do, that every year so and so people are leaving, this is the trend of this industry, so many people would be retiring. So based on that, you will come to it. Another would be your work sample kind of thing. So there are various methods of doing it. Right? Yeah. So JD, when we talk about JD, it is all about your job, what is there in the job. If you really want to hire documents for that, Shrijit, okay, we can probably connect. See, as I say, in business analytics, when you're doing MBA in this, we don't have that detail, but definitely I can help you. Otherwise, I can give you some links and all later on where you can refer to those things. Yeah, sure. Now, descriptive only, Jibin, you would have one question for IA, 10 marks, one question. It would be a scenario based where you will have to apply the concepts, whatever you've learned in a scenario. Okay, and that's it. Yeah. So JD is very detailed, descriptive, because as I said, JD has to go right. Because when you are going for any kind of hiring process, until and your JD is correct, you cannot. Okay, JD has to fall in the right place. Okay, so JD was all about job, but who is going to do that job? How do we get to know? That will tell. Your job specification is going to tell us that. So every detail about the individual who is going to do that job, okay, that is your job specification. So that is your individual, what kind of abilities you want, what kind of skill set, ask, right? Ability, skill set, and knowledge. So every detail about the individual, educational qualifications, experience, work knowledge, okay, everything, skills required, all those things. So every detail about that individual would be your job specification. JD and JS has to fit like this, like a jigsaw puzzle or a hand in a glove. Okay, too tight, too loose, not done. That means overqualified also, people would be dissatisfied, they would not like it. Underqualified, no confidence, people would not be able to deliver. So JD has to, as beautifully match the JS, or the job specification. If there's any loose points, then they had to be filled up by training programs. Okay, so again, in job specification, what all specification do we look out for? Physical specification, emotional and social specification, mental specifications. What are these? So when we say physical, you must have seen in army that if you have a flat foot, you would not be hired. So yeah, there are certain physical specification for different jobs. So that is about that. And then the emotional and social specifications. You would have seen that when you visit a doctor, if the doctor is very nice to you, say, you know what? Yeah, hi, what you doing? How are you? No, it is not a big deal. Okay, why are you feeling so? Have you noticed that half your illness goes away? Abid, Basappa, Ganesh, Gaurav, do you all agree that the way your doctor behaves with you, will like, and Shashi, sometimes the doctor is so rude, you'll feel like, you feel all the more sick. Okay, so it's very important. Plus, as a doctor, you can't be shaky if you see a individual. See what happens, doctors have to go through a lot of things. They have to operate people. They see sometimes they are not able to save. They have to have very good emotional, stability. Otherwise, they would not be able to do justice. And that's the reason you will see most of the time doctors, they are not allowed to, work on their own family members, because there the emotional aspect becomes very, it's a very thin line, and it's very difficult to treat them without cutting that emotional aspect. So yes, the social specification, how you deal with people, very much required for doctors, nurses, even in service industry. Okay, the air hostesses, when they're so, all these stewards and flight stewards and all, when they're rude to you, we don't like that, because their experience becomes bad. So yeah, emotional and social specifications very much required. Mental, for many jobs you have to do, where mental aspect would be required more, the IQ and all. So especially if you're an engineer, doctor, yes, business analytics, yes, it requires a lot of mental specifications. So yeah, in these kind of jobs you need required, you have to analyze, interpret data and all, and you all are doing this thing. So I think who knows is better than you all people. So these are your mental specification. These are certain, when we talk about job specification, all these specifications are taken into consideration. Then recruitment. Then we'll talk about recruitment. As I told you, there's a very thin line of difference between, again, not thin, huge, between recruitment and selection. And we always say it interchangeably. We always say, oh, that individual got recruited in that organization. That is wrong. Because recruitment is not hiring. It's a part of hiring. Recruitment is finding the potential candidate. There's a lot of talent in the market. But Gaurav, Abid, tell me, Shashi, is that every talent important for me? Is that every talent relevant for me? Jibin, Jyoti? No, absolutely not, Shashi. Absolutely not. So we have to, when we say that talent, it's a process. Absolutely. So Jibin, recruitment is a process of finding your potential candidates. So the ad which you find in Naukri.com, on LinkedIn, or in newspaper, okay, that is your recruitment process, because you're attracting your potential talent. It's like a foundation of your house. If the foundation isn't strong, you will never be able to build up a strong building. So you have to make sure that you are attracting the right individual. Yes, under talent acquisition team. Yes, Abid, absolutely. So yes, that's a first step towards selection. Because Abid, what happens when you were able to attract good candidates, good talent towards your organization, then only you would be able to handpick the best ones from there. So that handpicking through interviews and different processes, that becomes your selection. Okay. And that's precisely the reason we say that recruitment is a positive process, because in recruitment, if you have the required skill set, whatever is given in the JD and JS, if you have the required skill set, you can definitely go for it. But does recruitment guarantee that you would get placed in the organization? Abid, Jibin? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Nilesh. Reason being is that then comes your funneling process. That is your selection process. Wow. Abid has given an entire, exactly. So yeah, that's what is your recruitment. I'll give you a case. We'll discuss a case of Zappos and how beautifully they do their recruitment and selection thing. Let's watch. Let's see that. So it's, for Zappos, culture is very important for this organization. Absolutely important. So what they do, let's see it. So Zappos, they are known, it's an online shoe company. Now it comes under Amazon and all. So Zappos' CEO was Tony Hsieh. He's no more, late Tony Hsieh. Tony Hsieh was very, very entrepreneurial right from the childhood. He was very enterprising. So what, at the age of 9, he had this vermiculture, right? Worms ka farm. Okay, Kido ka farm, which we call vermiculture. So he started his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 9. Of course, it didn't work out. Later on, he did loads and loads. In college and all, he used to buy these cold burgers, heat them up. So for example, you're buying these cold burgers for like 50 cents and then you sell it for $1. So that's what Tony Hsieh used to do. And he was very enterprising. So when he found, like when Zappos, he was a part of Zappos. For Zappos, they said that culture is everything. They created Zappos in such a way that culture would be everything for Zappos, right? So for them, credible, relevant, unique, and durability was very important. They said you are defined by your culture. Culture is your brand. So how Zappos started hiring for cultural fit? So for example, First of all, Zappos, they did a relocation to Las Vegas because they wanted to have a workforce which could work 24/7. And that was definitely possible in Las Vegas. So now you will see how beautiful their, the cultural alignment is. See, the thing is that, Abid, if I don't have a skill set, I can learn that. Huh, Ganesh, tell me. If I don't have a certain skill, or I don't have a certain knowledge, do you agree? Huh, Jyoti, Kripa, Mansi, Nikita, do you all agree? I can learn if I'm lacking in knowledge. But if I don't fit into that culture, it becomes difficult, right? Right? Cultural fitment is very important. Neither I can change my entire culture for the organization, non-organization can change themselves for me. So here, how culture is very important. So they every year they have this culture book, a culture collage where everyone would write every year. And it's not that I'll go and check what I had written earlier year and then I'll tweak it. Absolutely not. So people do that, and they hire. For them, hiring cultural fitment, it's very important. And everybody writes in that culture book, whether you are the CEO of the company or you are working in the shop floor level. So every employee, right from the entry level position to the top CXO position, everybody writes in that cultural fitment. Now what happens that, what happens, how they hire for cultural fitment. So for example, you have come to give an interview there. You're there to attend an interview. So a cab is going to pick you up. A cab picks you up, takes you for half-day city tour, and then you go for an interview. Now, however cracker of a performance you have given in an interview, you have performed the best performance you have given, you have killed it, as you say. But they'll again go back to the cab driver, ask how you have behaved with them. And if the answer is positive, that you have been good with them, then you would be hired. But if the cabs, people whom you have interacted during the day, if the answer is like, you have a very negative attitude and you were not respecting towards people, they will never hire us. Because as I told you that culture is everything for them. Culture is very important, and they will never hire that person. Tony Shea Tony Shea told that because of that, they have left so many people who could have really made a difference to the organization. They said, we want people who can really have that cultural fitment. And it really, really worked with them, their hiring policy. And that's how they have been a high performing organization all the time. Now, I have a question again. So imagine somehow you got selected, cultural fitment was there. But after this, people go for 2 weeks training. And again, when they come back from training, they've asked that after this Turnus training and everything, do you feel that you still can be a part of Zappos family? What if one does not feel that, he or she can be a part of Zappos family? What happens then? I want to ask this question from you guys. What will happen then? Yeah, that's what Rahul. And they keep on tweaking things. So Rahul, this is something which comes as, overall, but they keep on tweaking these elements. Tell me, if you feel that you still, they'll go back to you and ask you that if you can't feel that you can be a part of Zappos's culture, what happens then? If they ask me, Pooja, what do you feel right now? And I feel that I can't do it. It is difficult for me. What happens in such a case? Tell me, any guesses what happens for those people who feel that they can't align with Zappos? Batao, tell me. No answers. Come on, Jyoti, Mansi, Rahul. Jibin has no comments. Any guesses, Jibin? Madhuri? Feedback sharing. Okay, Advid. Nilesh, Rahul, anything? Rahul says they will be okay. They'll let them go. Okay, fine. Adapt or leave. Okay, Yunus, lovely. They let them go. Okay, Vijay, move out. Shashi. I think most of you are on the correct lines. Yes, Nilesh, let them go. Correct, Madhuri. They do that. Okay. So after the training is over and people feel that, they can't be a part of Zappos, the culture is overwhelming. They wouldn't be able to do the culture. See, they definitely let them go. They give them a $3,000 check and they say that you can take this check and leave and then search another job, because culture is very important and integral part of their organization. So yeah, so that's what they do. But most of the time, that the process of hiring is so stringent that people do stay back. Okay, it's just few times people would have taken this kind of offer. Like most of the time, people don't take this offer. This is how their hiring process is. So I will, before I go and head on discussing about selection, I'll show you a video of Zappos. Just give me a moment. I might have it. Okay, yes, I have got that video. Are we there on the video page, guys? Are we there? Nikita, Mansi, Madhuri. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's watch this video. Sorry.
When you look at a list of world-class cultures across the world, the company Zappos.com comes in the top 10 list all of the time. On a recent visit to the US, I was really fortunate to spend a day at Zappos. I got to visit and tour around the office, meet some people from the contact center, and also sit with the head of engagement and the head of culture. Now, reading Tony Hsieh, the CEO's book, Delivering Happiness, is one thing about learning about the culture, but actually living it, feeling it and seeing it firsthand was absolutely amazing. And there's just a couple of things that I picked up that I'd love to share with you. The first thing that I noticed is that everybody's clear on the vision. The values weren't just written up on the walls, they were living and breathing within conversation with everybody. So when anybody had a conversation, it was about, how do I deliver happiness for my customers? How do I deliver happiness to my vendors, my team? People were speaking about these visions and values throughout every conversation, no matter who I met. Second thing is they were holding each other accountable. They were holding each other accountable by asking quality questions of each other. Quality questions that we're asking were, Sandra, tell me, what is it that you're doing to drive employee engagement this week? Or secondly, asking somebody else, hey Ted, tell me, what are you most proud of wowing your customers over the past month? This focus about the customer, this focus about their people, it's just the constant questions that we're asked on a daily basis. So everybody's ready with a story or an anecdote or proud to be able to share what they're doing to grow the business. Third thing is about hiring for cultural fit. Now, there's that old saying of hiring slow and then firing fast. This is something that Zappos really embraces. The fact that when I was speaking to one of the guys in the team, he said took him 6 months before he was actually hired. There's a joke going around that it's actually harder to get into Zappos than it is to get into Harvard. The idea that the cultural fit is far more important than the technical fit is no more evident in some of the recruitment questions, like, what's your favorite swear word? Or the other recruitment question that I found funny was, what would you do in a zombie apocalypse? Now, what this really talks to is one of their values, which is create fun and a little weirdness. It's really trying to understand, who are you as a person? And would you fit in with the crazy creative ways that we do things here at Zappos? The fourth thing is looking for collisionable moments. Now, Tony Hsieh, the CEO, goes and embraces these collisionable moments and finds ways that we can get people from all parts of the business and the community to have these moments where we're connecting together. Now, this can be run by different events that are run on the daily basis. I happened to be there at the finale of the Game of Thrones season 8, and they had viewings of the last season's episodes, and people would come into the cinema that they had there, watching it. Different people were coming together, different departments, and they were finding these collisionable moments of where they could actually chat. Or no more evident than my favorite meeting room that they had at Zappos was the ball pit. You know, that colorful ball pit where kids go and play in? But they had a meeting room where you could sit down and you could sit in the ball pit. How can you not be creative in such an environment? This is about finding moments of where we can actually collide and find these moments where we can have a drink, go through and bypass each other in the corridor, find ways that we can connect and bump into each other. And because of that, I've never been in an environment where I saw people, just random people, just happy to be there. smiling, saying hello, and that was just part of the Zappos culture. Thanks for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Just a sec. Okay, and yeah, coming back to our slides, then we have another concept, which is your selection. And as I said, recruitment is the first step towards selection. Not that everyone who went for that recruitment process, so recruitment is the way of finding the correct talent for your organization. Like, this is how you attract people towards your organization. But as I said, not that everyone who got attracted towards the organization would be picked, because then there's a huge process, which is selection process. And nowadays you might be seeing that the selection process has become how many rounds? 3, 4, 5 rounds, 5, 6 rounds also. And see, many organizations, they really understand that how important it is to understand your personality fitting to their jobs. So personality and job fitment has become very important. And because of that, you might have noticed this thing that people are doing a lot of, they're sending you psychometric assessments before they are calling you for interview. Have you noticed this thing? Things are changing very rapidly. Earlier, psychometric assessment used to be the last one. Now, many organizations, they don't want to invest their employees in everything, right? So they say, first, I'll see whether Pooja is the right fitment for my organization or not. And then only we'll call her for an interview. Because maybe from my psychological profiling, they may feel that, no, I'm not the right fitment for them. So that's how your selection process has to be. You need to find that what is the right knowledge and skill set required to do that. And in selection, it's like a funneling process. You would have various rounds. Okay, you might have some job first, you might have to go through some tests, role playing, some simulation exercises. Nowadays, which we call as assessment center. Assessment center there's a mishmash of different activities which you need to go through. And when you go through these activities, how they are, you might have to do a role play, a presentation, a GD, things around that, various manners. Stress interviews are a very important part. Okay, behavioral interviews, stress interviews, to see whether you can go with their, the thought process of organization or not. And then only few people would be handpicked or chosen ones, and they are the ones who would be selected. Because it may happen in recruitment, you got 50 people who are potential good employees, but the vacancies are 4. So we'll have to reject 46. And that's how it is also known as a negative process, because here you are handpicking the chosen ones, the best ones from the lot. Okay, from the lot which you got through your recruitment process. And then you choose the ones who are the best fitment for your organization. That is your selection. And then we would be talking about the concept of performance management. We would be discussing traditional performance appraisals, systems of performance appraisal method and a modern method. First of all, we need to understand what's the concept of performance management. Performance management is an entire umbrella under which performance appraisal is a part. Because see, at the end of the day, we are not doing appraisal to belittle anyone. The appraisals are done so that, wherever there's a gap, we can fulfill the gap. And wherever you have done very well, you can be appreciated for that. Because at the end of the day, it is all about how your performance is, right? The performance really matters. So in performance management, as I said, it's a big umbrella under which your performance appraisal is a part. Your training and development is another part. Your career development is another part. Okay, your overall employee, development is again another part. So all these are the perspective, because see so we don't are just managing human or your workforce or human resources. We are also developing them. We don't want, see, whatever we are today, we cannot move ahead in our career with the same skill set, right? When we get hired by any organization, we get hired for our present skill set. But with the same skill set, we cannot move ahead. We need to constantly hone ourselves, constantly upskill, reskill. And that's precisely the reason you all are here on a Sunday evening or an afternoon to attend the classes. Because we all know that change is the only constant. We all started with what? We all started with barter system, then we went with, like your, what do you say, currency. Then we went with plastic money. Then we went with UPI payments and all. And now we are moving towards blockchain, right? Cryptocurrency and all. There would be a time where right now you'll say that in dark web, this cryptocurrency people are using. El Salvador has already accepted cryptocurrency as their legal tender, right? There would be a day when we would also accept it. Do you all agree? So we come a long way, and unless we are not agile, we don't, agility is not there, we cannot move further. So we all have to be agile. Okay. Then we talk about, then in the class, the fourth class, we would be discussing about your past-oriented method. So past-oriented performance appraisal methods are the traditional methods, which we also call them. These would be, what we call them is as your confidential report, essay form, rating system, ranking system, your bell curve. These all are past-oriented method, which are mostly trade-based method. But these methods do not hail so much of importance nowadays. So we are going towards a future-oriented method. What a future-oriented method? It is about, future-oriented method is your human resource accounting, assessment centers, your behaviorally anchored rating scales, 360-degree, MBO. So these all we would be discussing in our last class about the different performance appraisal methods, and we'll do a very small caselet. So this is what it is there in your 4 sessions. This is what we would be going forward in next 3 sessions, next 7.5 hours, we would be doing this. So first of all, let me ask all of you, have you all understood? And when I say all, I mean all. Huh? Astha, Abid, Basappa, Ganesh, Gaurav, Jibin, Jyoti, Kharavila, Kripa, Madhuri, Mansi, Nikita, Nilesh, Rahul, Rohit, everyone. Sunny, Shashi, Vibhor, Vijay, Yunus. Are we all clear? Have we all understood? Do you have any question? So after the process of performance appraisal based on your performance, Vijay, the organization may give you a kind of incentive that you have done really, really well. So based on that, they may give a raise to you. That is your salary hike. Now, after the appraisal process is done, right? So it's a process which will determine that what kind of hikes we would be getting. While looking at organization fitment is great, but if that is a primary consideration factor, then I feel that thing can behave the same as everyone else in the team, then will it not have the perspective? No. So Rahul, we definitely have to have same perspective, but overall culture. So for example, Rahul, we talk about Tata culture, right? And we discuss about this case study of Taj Hotel, what happened. The culture has to be same. Like for example, in a house only, right? We all follow the same culture, but we all have different perspective. That is important. You all have to have diverse. When we talk about, Rahul, this question of diversity, it is important that we talk about gender diversity, culture diversity, social status diversity, diversity of disabilities and all those things. But Rahul, along with that, diversity of thought is very important, because if all of us start thinking in the same manner, in a straight-jacketed fashion, if all of us are together in the same thing, no innovation will happen. So in order to creativity to flow, that diversity of thought has to be there. But overall, look and feel, if you are totally contrast to organization culture, it becomes very difficult. Within the organization, of course, everybody is unique. We all have different traits and all. We would be diverse. But that overall look and feel of an individual about, for example, honesty, integrity, these things become very important. So Vijay, negotiation skills, we do have, but I think it is not in the syllabus per se of this thing. Reason being is that, Vijay, we just have 3 more sessions and we need to comply to the syllabus which is there. So I don't think so that in this you have that negotiation skills as your course, but of course we can always connect and I can always help you in certain things. No problem at all. Okay? Is that okay, Vijay? Any other questions? Do you have any other questions? Sure thing. Yeah, do you have any questions? Anyone? Okay, so shall we call it a day? Yeah, sure, Abid, ask. While the question, please do ask. Do you want me to give you voice right, or you would be typing it? You can raise your hand if you want a voice right. Okay, another thing is that you can always ask the questions later also. That is not an issue at all. And Abid, we will say that money is still the greatest motivator. Whatever said and done, money still holds the most, like, you know, if you discuss or read research papers about motivation, money still holds the most relevant thing. But apart from now, Abid, if we specifically talk about, you know, the great resignation, okay, now people, the thought process of Generation Z is changing. They want money, but they also want an organization which understands them. Initially, we all have done our personal sacrifices to comply to organization, but the newer generation, they would want, I don't know, Abid, maybe you are also from the newer generation. So the newer generation wants that the organization has to comply to them, conform to their needs. That becomes very important. So yes, I still will say money, the financial pay, Abid, by and large, overall, if you talk about the general look and feel, it is the most important thing. But along with that, your culture is also important. Sometimes the culture is so toxic that however good you are being paid, you always look out for another job. And then at time you feel 10% less bhi milega to chalega. At least I'll be out of this organization. I hope you are able to comprehend that, right? Everywhere, Abid. You know, in toxic culture, it's very difficult to survive and sustain for long period. You may have short term, it becomes, yeah. Yes, absolutely, Nilesh. Abhi, do we agree to this? It's very contextual, right? It is also contextual. Maybe an individual who comes from very sound monetary background, who does not have that much, you know, it's just a supplementary income to the family. That individual might not think money for that individual culture may be more, you know, more compelling factor. But overall, by and large, money is still the greatest motivator for all of us. Because at the end of the day, we all want that. Absolutely. Industries, role, absolutely. What kind of background we come from, right, Abid? That is also there. Sometimes, as I said, you are just having a supplementary income. For you to have a good working culture atmosphere is more important for the sanity of your mind. So that's, yeah, exactly. Maslow's need of hierarchies. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other question? We'll meet then on next Saturday. Next Saturday, we have from 7 to 9:30. We'll meet next Saturday. And yeah, that's it for the day. So shall we call it a day? Yeah, thank you so much. You all have been great. You all did not let it make a Babaji session. Okay. So yeah, a Gyan session. Thank you so much. Term and examination would be after your all this thing is over. Na? And mostly, Jibin, it would be live lectures and all. Mostly I'll try to incorporate in that manner. Thank you so much, Abid. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So we'll meet in the next class then. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.